In this video, we're going to be talking about the distributive property. In case that you forgot about it, it's basically when a number or a variable is written directly in front of a set of parentheses and it must be multiplied by everything inside the parentheses. For example, if I have here 2 in between parentheses for x negative 6, this is basically telling me to multiply this number that is right in front of the parentheses by each one of the terms inside. 2 times 4x is 8x. And also 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. So basically, that's it. The distributive property states that you must multiply that number that is right in front of the parentheses by each one of the terms inside of the parentheses, or basically everything inside the parentheses. Let's take a look at this. Negative 3 times 2m. Negative 6m. Remember that when you're multiplying different signs, your answer must be negative. So, negative 3 times 2m is equals to negative 6m. Now, I need to multiply negative 3 times positive 5, which is negative 15. Now, I would like you to pause the video and try to do this one by yourself. Very good. So you're going to multiply the number outside the parentheses that is right in front of the parentheses by each one of the terms inside the parentheses. 5 times 4x is equals to 20x. 5 times negative 2, it's equals to negative 10. And you might wonder, why do I have to leave it like that? Well, basically, they are not like terms. So that's your final answer. Now, I would like you to try to do this one by yourself. You're going to be multiplying a fraction by each one of the terms inside the parentheses. Pause the video and challenge yourself. All right, so now I'm going to be multiplying negative 1/3 times 2x. I'll do it here, so I have more space. Negative 1/3 times 2x. Remember that under any whole number, you have an invisible one as a denominator. Now you multiply numerator by numerator. Negative 1 times positive 2x is equals to negative 2x. Now 3 times 1 is 3. As this is a proper fraction, I will leave it like that, okay? So now I know that this part, this multiplication, is this one. Negative 2x out of 3. But I'm not done yet because now I need to multiply negative 1/3 times negative 6. I'll do it here. Negative 1/3 times negative 6. Invisible 1 as a denominator. And if I multiply a negative by a negative, as they have the same sign, my answer will be positive. So negative 1 times negative 6 is positive 6. 3 times 1 is 3. As this is an improper fraction, I do need to divide it. 6 divided by 3 is equals to 2. So now I'm going to combine this answer with this answer, or just put it together, and they will be positive 2. As they are not like terms, this is going to be your final answer. How about you try this one by yourself? Pause the video. Very good. So we have 2/3 times negative 3y. I'll do it here. 2/3 times negative 3y. Do not forget about the invisible one as a denominator. When you're multiplying different signs, your answer must be negative. So positive 2 times negative 3y is basically negative 6y. Now you multiply the denominators. 3 times 1 is 3. If I have an improper fraction, I need to divide it. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. In this case, negative 2y. Now I'm going to multiply 2/3 times negative 6. 2/3 times negative 6. Invisible 1 as a denominator, as you might already know. 2 times negative 6. In this case, as they have different signs, my answer will be negative 12. Now 3 times 1 is 3. As negative 12/3 is an improper fraction, I do need to divide it. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. But hold on, it's negative 4 because they have different signs, all right? So my final answer from the first multiplication is negative 2y. And my answer from the second multiplication is negative 4. So this is my final answer because they are not like terms. So I cannot continue. Now that you have a little background on how to use the distributive property, we're going to use the distributive property when simplifying expressions. For these, I'm going to introduce you to two different methods. Method 1, you're going to be using the distributive property first, and then you will be combining like terms. Let me show you what I mean by that. So you're going to remember that you need to multiply the number that is right in front of the parentheses by everything that is inside the parentheses. So I'll do 2 times negative 3x, which is negative 6x. 2 times positive 1, which is positive 2. And then 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10. As you can see, the first thing that I did was basically multiplying the number outside the parentheses by each one of the terms inside the parentheses. But this cannot be my last answer because I see like terms here. Positive 2 and negative 10 are like terms. They don't have any variable, so they have that in common. So as I see, they have different signs, which means that I need to subtract. So basically you do negative 10 and 2 or 2 and negative 10, and it will give you negative 8 because negative 10 has the greatest absolute value. So I need to keep it as negative. I'm going to bring this down, this term down, as I cannot continue. This is my last answer. Negative 6x, negative 8. So if you feel like you understand this method better, I suggest that you stick to this method, method 1. If you think this method is a little long or a little confusing, you can try method 2. In method 2, you're going to combine the like terms first, and then you're going to be using the distributive property. So let me show you. So here, inside the parentheses, I see that 1 and negative 5 are like terms. So I'm going to combine them. So different signs is basically subtraction. So in here, I have 1 and negative 5, which is negative 4. Okay, so I combine these two, negative 4. Then I'm going to bring this negative 3x down. I'll close my parentheses, and I'm going to bring the 2 down. Now that I'm done combining the like terms first, I am ready to use the distributive property. 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6x, and 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8. As you can see, you get the same answer. So it's up to you if you want to use method 1 or method 2. Now, I would like you to pause the video, choose one of these methods, and simplify the expression. Very good. So now I'm going to be showing you how to simplify this expression. As you can see, it's the same expression, but I'm going to model you how to do it with these two methods. Method 1, I'll be using the distributive property first. So negative 3 times negative 1. Remember, when you're multiplying and they have the same sign, your answer must be positive. So this will be positive 3. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. All right? And last but not least, negative 3 times positive 7. In this case, will be negative 21. Now that I'm done using the distributive property, I am ready to combine the like terms. As you can see, negative 21 and positive 3, they are like terms. Different signs, I need to subtract. So 3 and negative 21 is negative 18. Now I'm going to bring this term down because there's nothing I can do with it. This must be my last answer because they don't have any like terms anymore. Okay? Now I'm going to be showing you how to simplify the same expression, but this time with method 2. Negative 3 times negative 1, positive 2x, and positive 7. So I'm going to be combining the like terms first. I see that negative 1 and 7 are like terms. They don't have any variables, so that's what they have in common. So I'm going to do negative 3, open my parentheses, different signs I need to subtract, and keep the sign of the greatest absolute value. So in this case, it is positive 7. So negative 1 and positive 7 is positive 6. I'm going to just bring this term down because only negative 1 and positive 7 are the like terms. Now I'm ready to use the distributive property. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18, and negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. As you can see, I got the same answer. So remember, you don't have to do the two methods like I did. You need to pick one method and stick with it. Now, try to simplify this expression. Remember, you need to do the distributive property first, okay? Pause this video and try to do it by yourself. All right, so now I'm ready to start with the distributive property. Always start with the distributive property. Let's take a look at this expression. As you can see, in this part of the expression, we have a distributive property. And in here, we just have a term, okay? So I need to solve the distributive property first, and then I will deal with this term, okay? So negative half times 6x. Let's do it here. Negative half times 6x, invisible 1 as a denominator. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6x. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3x. Now, negative half times 4. Negative half times 4, invisible denominator of 1. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. As this is an improper fraction, just like this one, you needed to divide. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Now I'm ready to write my answer. So I have negative 3x here. That it was basically this multiplication. I have negative 2. That it was basically this other multiplication. And now I'm going to bring this term down. Positive 2x. As I can see, there are some like terms in here. Negative 3x and 2x are like terms. They have the same variable raised to the same power, invisible 1. So different signs, I need to subtract and keep the sign of the greatest absolute value. In this case, it's negative 3. So negative 3 and 2 is basically negative 1. Remember, a variable alone always has an invisible 1 right in front. So it will be negative x and negative 2. I need to bring this one down. So this is my final answer. If you have it written like this, negative 1x and negative 2, this is also correct. So don't worry about that. Now that you know how to simplify these expressions, please pause the video and try to do it by yourself. All right. So remember, when we're solving these type of expressions, you need to use the distributive property first, and then you deal with the extra term or the second part of it. Okay. So negative 3 times 5y, as you know, is negative 15y. Now I need to multiply negative 3 times 1/3. Let me do it here. Negative 3 times 1/3. Invisible 1 as a denominator. Negative 3 times positive 1 is negative 3. 1 times 3 is 3. I need to simplify this. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. Negative 1. So I'm going to put this negative 1 down here. And now I'm ready to bring this term down. Negative 9y. As you can see, you have like terms, so you're not done. We have negative 15y and also negative 9y. Remember, when they have the same signs, you need to add and keep the sign that they share. As they have the same signs, you need to add negative 15 and negative 9, which is negative 24y. Now I'm ready to bring this term down, and this will be my final answer because I don't have any other like terms.